Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Feel Free Friday. This is just a test out of something that I'm going to do on Friday. Why I call it Feel Free is because it's, I guess, a thought or a process where it's not really a podcast or I'm going to talk about it, but just kind of a thought that I want to let go of in order to feel free. And if you didn't know and didn't know from the podcast or even from the terrible workout Wednesday, I'm gonna take it off soon. Just so you know, I'm gonna redo it because I really didn't mean to just rant and talk about myself the entire time, even though that's pretty much what the channel's about. I felt like I was just talking a little too much about what was happening, and it wasn't really about the workout at all. Maybe mentally, I was getting mobile, which is important, but at the same time, I wanted to provide something that was more of a mobility for you guys when you're, you know, need to exercise, need to work out. I don't want that. I want it to be separate. There's dog hair on my microphone. I want it to be separate than the other one. That's why I kind of created this Feel Good Friday, or we would call Feel Free Friday, right? Why? Blending kind of makes sense, and it's something I can do. And there's one thing that I wrote down on this wonderful piece of paper that my daughter drew a picture of when destroyed evil queen taken. I don't know what that means, but it's a princess, and there's Reddy and her little stuffed animals, and that's the house she's taken over. But on the back of it, it says, "We've all been abused. We've all fought our addiction. We all have some type of depression." Well, I figured that that's the norm now. So what, right? And that made sense to me because you could also say this whole week, I've been feeling off, feeling down, feeling depressed, trying my best to work through things, confused, anxious, expectations. And then there's times where you say, woe is me, right? You say, that poor me. Why do I have to go through this again? Why does this have to be a part of my life? And why do I have to endure these circumstances all the time? And when I think about this little writing I had, I believe it's from 2 weeks ago, it's just a thought, right? It's a thought that's in my head. And it's like, yeah, we're all fucked up, right? We all have some type of trauma. Now, is it little trauma, big trauma, life changing trauma? It all depends. Same thing. Depression. What phase of depression do we have? Is it a severe depression? Are you medically depressed? Like you need medicine? Because there's 1,000 people that I know that are on medication for depression, but they're still depressed. Don't you notice like that doesn't make sense? Like if you're taking medication to get out of depression, we should be off depression. Right? You shouldn't be there. Anxiety is a different tool, it's a different case, right? Anxiety is like it's there, right? It's something that we have to learn to manage. Anxiety like, is something that we need for people that are overthinkers, overachievers, or even just uh, super scared. And we have to know the balance of like when am I going to be brave or when am I not? Like, am I going to be brave this time? So I'm not going to allow anxiety to take over. But there's times where anxiety is going to take over, and it's just going to be a whirlwind, right? But we have to learn the skills and practice to get out of those situations. And same thing for depression. Like if you're severely depressed, I'm sorry. I understand that it is very difficult to do so. But if you're on medication, right, and we're on medication to get off depression, then why are we still depressed? Because now it's not depression, it's not medicine, right? The medicine is supposed to help us get out of it, but there's other things that we need to do in order to get out of that depression. I'm not saying you're wrong for feeling depressed, right? Sometimes we can't even control that, right? The chemical imbalance in the brain, it just can't. It's proven fact. You can't. But it doesn't mean we give up, right? It doesn't mean we give up on everything because we can do this all day long. Well, I was battered, I was beaten, I was abused as a child. I'm an alcoholic. I have a drug addiction. Yes, and everyone else. You know, I say this with an open and loving heart because I too do the same thing. But the one difference that I know that I'm going to make and free my mind is that I'm going to free myself from these things. I'm going to choose not to think about. I'm sure some type of sexual abuse or some type of eating disorder or whatever it is I've been through, right? Abuse, whatever. Everyone's been abused. It all depends on the person. Like if you grew up in Beverly Hills your whole life and didn't know what it means to be told to say no, and all of a sudden someone says no, or you break a nail, that's traumatic to you. People may think it's ridiculous, but if that person doesn't know at all what it means to feel in that way, something as drastic as losing someone can be very traumatic to them. Whereas there's someone that might be a little bit more blue collar, right? And you're used to losing. You're used to being told no. You're used to struggling. But then something hits hard, and now you have to deal with that. So everyone's got their shit. That's pretty much the gist of it here. Everyone's got their shit they got to deal with. The thing is, how are we going to deal with it? Right? How are we going to deal with it from now on? And for me to feel free, I'm going to let go of all those things. Right? All the things that happened in the past, I'm going to do my best to practice. I'm reading a book. I forget where it is. It might be downstairs. It's called, I don't remember. I think it's called The Soundtrack or something like that. It's blue. That's how great of a person I am when I read. But it's very interesting. And the concept of the book is that we all have a soundtrack of our life. Right? We always heard, what's your soundtrack of life going to be? What's your sound? No, it's not even that. The soundtrack is we're usually playing the same song, and it's not doesn't mean like the song. It's what's your story, and we use that story, and sometimes that story that we play is negative, right? And it doesn't fit into our recovery. It does not fit into our healing. It does not fit into our new version of ourselves. So I'm trying to change that soundtrack for myself. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Am I done with the book? No. Do I got to figure it out? Yeah. But again, I'm just unloading the thoughts on this Friday so I can feel free. And maybe you can do the same. And if you want to do it, make a video, share it with me, and let's put it up top. If you want to do it and talk it out, send it to me somehow. DM me with a post, whatever it is. Probably not going to happen, but just let you know that it's out there, that I will listen and I'll read to your story, because I want everyone to kind of just feel free on this Friday, because it kind of feels empowering, and it feels good. And as shitty a situation might be right now for me in my own life, we've all been here. Same fucking story. Same book. Same soundtrack. Let's change it. I'll see you guys later.